welcome back to Malaysia. Wow, what a difference a few hours makes after we were greeted this morning by those horrible grey, gloomy and wet conditions to kick off the 2018 winter testing programme at the Sepang International Circuit. We have now got more typical Malaysia conditions, very hot and very humid, and what that means, thankfully, is we've finally got the riders out there assessing their new bikes on Michelin slick tyres. Now, the first rider after that damp start this morning to go out on slick tyres was British rider on the LCR Honda, Crutchlow. Cal actually had a very low-key start this morning. While it was raining, looked out the hotel window, decided to go for a couple of hours riding on his bicycle before coming to the circuit. Straight away we could see the improvement in track tyres from Crutchlow. Compared to the wet times of this morning, he was almost 10 seconds a lap quicker, straight away on the slick tyres. And throughout the day, as more rubber has been laid down and track conditions have significantly improved, we're seeing lap times get much more and more competitive. Andrea Dovizioso has also taken his first steps out on the Ducati after he decided to wait until the track had fully dried out as well. Interesting from Cal Crutchlow, we told you this morning about him experimenting with 3 different new Honda RC213 machines. They are all pretty much identical in spec. The big job for Crutchlow evaluate some Honda electronics, certainly working with anti-wheelie and traction control. We've seen all factories now putting in really hard work. Jorge Lorenzo's been out on the new factory Ducati GP18. But that's enough from me. I know you're here, you want to see bikes and hear the bikes out on circuit here at the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia. So it's over to some more highlights and exclusive footage with live commentary from Tom Brooks back in Barcelona. The start of MotoGP winter testing here in Malaysia.
Yes, welcome back to Sepang in Malaysia. So just under 2 hours remaining of the opening day of the opening test of the 2018 season. We're currently looking at Johann Zarco on track, but the big news has been, as Matt mentioned just a few moments ago, the track has been drying out significantly over the last few hours. It's now completely bone dry and lap times have been tumbling down very quickly indeed. At the moment, it's Andrea Dovizioso who tops the timesheets. Of course, the runner-up to the 2017 World Championship heads Maverick Vinales and Valentino Rossi. Rossi sat at the top of the timesheets for a good half an hour or so earlier on, but now it is Dovizioso who is leading the way. There was quite a flurry of track action about 45 minutes or so ago on the circuit. At the moment, there's just 4 or 5 riders on track. Cal Crutchlow, Andrea Iannone, Franco Morbidelli, Sylvain Guintoli, Aleix Espargaro and Tito Rabat all out on the circuit at the moment. On the left-hand side of your screen, you can see the live timing, so keep an eye on any changes in positions over the course of the next few moments and see whether any riders are improving. And as I say that, Andrea Iannone pops it up into 9th place, so a personal best time for the Team Suzuki Ecstar rider. Now we talked about Cal Crutchlow. He's in 4th place and currently pounding around on track at the moment. He's got 3 factory Hondas at his disposal for this test. Of course, all 2018 chassis, as we mentioned earlier on as well, but he unfortunately was the victim of a small crash earlier on, around about 20 minutes or so ago on circuit. He had a slight tumble on the track and has had to go back to pit lane and is now out on one of his other motorcycles. Fortunately, not too much damage done. We didn't quite know where the crash was, but nonetheless, Cal up and okay. Fortunately now back out on track, pounding around some laps, getting in some crucial data for the LCR Honda team. Conversely, his teammate Takaki Nakagami, of course, making his debut in MotoGP this year. He is 16th fastest at the moment and looking very nice out there on circuit. We're currently looking, though, at Valentino Rossi. As I said, he was quickest for quite a significant period, around about 45 minutes or so ago, only to have his lap time bettered by his teammate and Andrea Dovizioso, who likewise has now ventured out onto the circuit. It's been a really interesting first day here at the Sepang track. Of course, we started in those horrible wet conditions. It was really not very nice out there at all. Thunderstorms greeting the circuit, big black clouds and some heavy showers. And this Sepang circuit, it's not the quickest drying track on the MotoGP calendar, so there was some speculation as to whether we would see any bikes out at all. Fortunately, though, it soon dried, the sun came out, and it's now over 30 degrees with a 70% humidity. So riders and team members are turning the aircon up to full blast more than anything to get the box nice and cool and get themselves in the right frame of mind for the last couple of hours of testing. Here those Jorge Lorenzo and Dani Pedrosa. Now Lorenzo, 5th fastest. Of course, his first win this season in 2017 since 2005. He'll be really hoping for more. And as we saw with the interview with Casey Stoner around about 5 or so minutes ago, he is expecting more of Lorenzo this year, hoping to make a step forward. Of course, they're out on the GP18 machine, their brand new challenger for the 2018 season, of course. They did do incredibly well last year in the GP17, guys. But this year is looking very, very exciting indeed. Of course, a new livery on that bike. They used the 2017 bike as a base to evolve for the GP18. And of course, Casey Stoner was testing it a few days ago as well. Meanwhile, somebody who's been on top form, as ever, is Marc Marquez, the reigning 6-time world champion. New team manager at the Repsol Honda outfit in the form of Alberto Puig this year. Of course, after Livio Supo left at the back end of last year, of course, they debuted their new hammerhead fairing, although we haven't seen that out on track so far today. Test rider Hiroshi Oyama tested it on Thursday here at Sepang, but we haven't seen it break cover on the opening day. Interestingly, both Repsol Honda riders have got 3 RC213Vs at their disposal. And it'll be interesting to see what comparisons or what changes they make over the course of the day. Here's the rookie Tom Luthi, his first time out on track, of course, after missing the Valencia post-season test last year due to injury. He unfortunately, at that very corner there, turn number 2, crashed in qualifying for Moto2, ended up breaking his ankle and unfortunately missed the end of the Moto2 season, 1 scuffing his title chances and 2 delaying his debut on the MotoGP bike. So we'll be seeing how Tom Luthi goes over the course of this test. Currently, though, he's sitting a bit further down the order than I'm sure he would like to be at the moment, but of course, early steps so far. Some more lap times coming in. Keeps an eye on the left-hand side of the screen. Cal Crutchlow goes up into 4th place. Tito Rabat also into 21st position. As I said, just a few riders now out on track at the moment. So a very interesting opening day here in Sepang. Of course, it's the 5.54 kilometre circuit, 3.34 miles. Developed, of course, in 1999, designed by Herman Tilke, and made its debut on the Grand Prix motorcycle racing calendar in the same year. The first international event that was hosted here at Sepang in 1999 was the Grand Prix motorcycle racing scene. Of course, the legendary 500s were out on track during that time. It really was a sight to behold. And the circuit now, of course, used for the Malaysian Grand Prix and pre-season testing as well. As we said, Jorge Lorenzo, we're looking at him on screen at the moment. He'll be looking for some keen improvements over the course of this 2017 season. Didn't do too badly last year, let's be honest. 3 podiums, of course, with that Ducati team. But he was in contention for a race victory at Misano, let's not forget, in the wet weather. But unfortunately, a lapse of concentration caused him to crash out in the wet conditions, go down the road, and that was his first real chance of a victory all season. Put pay to that, so a big shame for Lorenzo there, but he'll be hoping for, as we said, some improvements over the course of this year, and he's got some improvements to make with the bike and get himself set up. His teammate Andrea Dovizioso will likewise be hoping for a similar season to 2017, if not even better. Finished 2nd in the championship, took the championship fight to Marc Marquez right down to the finale in Valencia. And it was only an unfortunate crash for Dovizioso that put pay to his title chances. But the team looking confident. They said, of course, in pre-season when they launched the bike that they are hoping to fight for the title. They think they can fight for the title, and of course using that GP17 bike as the base. They have got a good solid start to their machine. Meanwhile, here is Jack Miller. He, of course, is with Pramac Racing, the Alma Pramac Racing team in 2018. Moves over from the outfit. And it'll be interesting to see how Jack Miller goes on the GP17 Pramac Racing bike. Here, though, is Alex Rins. Finished 4th in Valencia last year after an injury-strewn season. Real big disappointment for Alex Rins to unfortunately be battling injury over the course of the first half of his debut year in MotoGP, but he definitely silenced any critics he had when he came back and put in some very strong performances at the end of the season. 2 top 5 finishes, 1 in Japan and, as I said, 1 in Valencia as well. It was a very impressive performance from the Spanish rider. He also dabbled a bit in commentary as well. So kept himself busy whilst he was recuperating, that's for sure. Riders now out on track. Marc Marquez, Paul Espargaro, Andrea Iannone out on the circuit. As well as Jack Miller, Takaki Nakagami, Tito Rabat. they're able to better their lap times. Of course, they're out on the slick Michelin rubber. The track is increasing in grip all the more. So it's getting better and better and faster